Hello my friends, I'm Delta. Now, if you're anything like me, you like Warhammer 40,000. Now, if you've watched my videos, you know the very first one I started with was a Warhammer video. And I know it seems like I mostly do Transformers. I just have a lot of them, okay? But today, as you can see here, I have a Lamenter. This is one I painted. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but basically they're a chapter from the Blood Angels, specifically from the Cursed Founding, 21st. If you want to know more about, the Lamenters, they just die a lot. Now, the reason why I started the video with the Lamenters is because of this. This is the Charta Galactica, whatever it is, however the fuck you say that word. This is a map of all the known planets in 40k, specifically during the Horus Heresy era. Now, recently I was looking through this to find all the Primarch planets, like Prospero, Nostramo, Baal, so on and so forth. And then I noticed something. There is a chapter that has no Legion and is a fleet-based chapter, meaning there is no home planet, and they are known as the Knights of Gryphonne. They don't have a founding, they don't have, Legion said. In this map, I believe it has at least a hint, or maybe even solid proof, of what Legion they're a chapter of. And believe it or not, it is actually right above this logo. Obviously, I'll open up the map to show you properly. So, to get a good idea of what I'm talking about, at the very bottom of the map, right near Nocturne, you can see a Forge World by the name of Gryphonne. And right next to it, Deliverance, the home planet of the Raven Guard. Now, I don't know much about the Knights of Gryphonne lore. The only thing I know about them is they don't have a Legion named, they don't have a founding listed, and they don't have a homeworld, so they're a fleet-based system, or chapter. The reason why I think this map has the best kind of evidence for my reasoning, it's two very loose connections that I think work in my favour. If anyone who has read more of the Knights of Gryphonne lore, who actually knows about this, they can say this is right, this is wrong, here's evidence that supports it, here's evidence that goes against it. By all means, tell me, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know jack shit about them. The only chapter I really know about is the Lamenters, purely because they just die a lot. So when it comes to the actual name, the planet of Gryphonne, it's a Forge World. It's a Mechanicus Forge World, and I think that in and of itself is evidence enough to say why they're a fleet-based chapter. Their homeworld is literally a massive factory. It's a manufacturing planet. You can't really do shit on there besides making weapons and making whatever other crap gets made there. The fact that it's a Forge World, that explains why it's a fleet-based chapter, and the close proximity to the Raven Guard home planet, or close proximity, they can go there, get people from the planet, turn them into Raven Guard Marines. Now, this evidence is shaky at best. It is clearly there, but there could be things in, maybe a 3rd edition codex that completely disproves everything. I don't know. But then you get to the point where it says, you get to the point where you're asking, what about the founding? When were they founded then? If you can figure out what Legion they're from, where their home planet is, what founding? And I don't know. My best guess, maybe 21st, because it's a cursed founding and because it's, near enough everything else has been scrubbed from them. 21st, make it a cursed founding. At the very least, you don't have to agree with what my opinion is. At the very least, I just want you to understand what my connections are for saying what I'm saying, and making people think, okay, so there's this connection, but then there's also this connection. If I look into the actual lore of it, then there's things for and against both points. At the end of the day, I just want to have more people looking into lesser known chapters, because sure, the main legions are amazing, but you can have so many different stories. Hopefully I've convinced at least some some people maybe, that there is, at the very least, a decent connection between the two. Again, I don't know the law. If someone who's more knowledgeable can say, you know, for a definitive fact, this can happen, this can't, at the very least, I'm trying to, you know, make people think about it.